Welcome back to adulthomeeducation.com, 773-417-9543. We're doing quick videos, and I mean these are really quick, and you can come by the GED Review online live classroom and pop into a study hall if you want, and it is live. All you need to do is have a headset and a computer with the internet. You are so good to go. Very little computer skills, so don't worry if you don't have a lot of computer skills. It's 120 minutes with a teacher for a whole month, just like your cell phone. You buy minutes. It's $25 for 120 minutes, and you just use it when you're studying, and you pop in and out if you're stuck on something. Teacher's right there to ask questions to. You don't have to email anybody and wait for the email. And you can have somebody help you and explain it. It's a lot less frustrating. So I went to look up reciprocals online because a student asked me about it, and it was so confusing because they're using so many mathematical terms. So our first video that we just finished was on kind of like beginning algebra before we hit the reciprocals, because we had to explain that before we did that. So we're just going to review that very, very quickly. So 7x equals 15, and please watch the first video if you didn't get a chance to. That's called reciprocals. So 7x equals 15. We want the x to stay by itself, and we want to pay attention to the equal sign. What we do to this side, we must do to this side because of the equal sign. We want to make sure that both sides stay equal. So 7x, how do we get that x by itself? We divide by 7. And 7 over 7 is, you got it, 1. And then we've got a 1x equals, and then we've got to divide 15 by 7. That's another fraction, right? Now, do we need to have this 1x? This means 1 times x. What's 1 times x? Exactly x. So we can just put x equals 15 over 7. How many times does 7 go into 15? Twice. You got it. And what's left over? 7 times 2 is 14, so there's 1 left over. So x equals 2 1/7. So if you got that, fantastic. Remember, you can always come and take a class if you want to. I'm just going to get rid of some of this now so that we can work on what the heck is a reciprocal, and you're not going to believe how ridiculously easy it is. Let's take 1/3 x equals 7. The idea here is, what is x? Because x is the same as a question mark, right? And these are called, in the last video I sort of called it a symbol, which I shouldn't have done, because in mathematical terms they like to call these variables. Like the symbol would be a multiplication symbol. But the x, as far as algebra goes, and an A and a B, these are all called variables. It's just a number and we don't know what it is, so rather than, we can't call them all question marks because some of them could be different numbers. So we give them, letters. And these are called variables. So we have 1/3 and the variable x equals 7. Now, if we divide this, like, we've divided the 7, but if we divide the 1/3, this is already dividing, right? And then we could say, okay, but what's the opposite of division? Well, it's multiplication. But what do we do here? I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense when you try to look at it and figure it out. You use a reciprocal. That means all you do is turn this around. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1. What's the reciprocal of 4? Now, any whole number is the same as a fraction if you put the number 1 underneath it. That's how you turn 4 into a fraction. 1 goes underneath it. What about 109? That would be 109 over 1. So what's the opposite? This just turned upside down. The reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1. So you're going to times this. 3 over 1 times 1/3. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And what's 3 over 3? Well, the numerator and the denominator are the same. It always equals 1. Okay, so we've got 1x, and let's clear this board just a little bit. So, taking too much off there. We've got 1x, which we're going to call x, equals, now on this side, we times by 3 over 1, which is the same as 3, right? Any number over 1 is the same as this number, the top number. So, then we're going to times 7 by 3. And what do we get? 21. So x equals 21. Exactement. We're good to go. We are so good to go. AdultHomeEducation.com. You can go to school and review your GED or do English as a second language at home. And it's free to come into the classroom and just check it out. Don't be embarrassed about going back to school ever, because it is normal, absolutely normal, for adults to forget. That's what the brain does. We push the information in the back and it disconnects from everything else because we've got too much going on. So this just helps you remember, and so don't feel bad if you forget stuff, because you've got at least a good maybe 75 million or maybe 80 or maybe 100 million other people out there in the United States alone that are forgetting too. So it's all good, right? Anyway, enjoy reciprocals. And if you want to do some more, just come and see us. Thanks again and have a great night or a day.